And there you have it. The Jing 10 Mountain is available on PC right now, coming to console very, very soon for all you console players out there. And that's what we're here today to discuss and actually show you is some Smite console action, which, Aggro, you know a lot about.
I do know a lot about. I liked watching these console games, man. I'm a little bit more, in tune with the players. I know I get trash talked more personally by them, and that it hits home, and I like that.
Feels good.
Yes,
feels
sometimes.
good. Well, we do have 6 sets to bring you today. However, unfortunately, we had 6 sets scheduled, I say. Unfortunately, we're only going to be able to bring you 4, as the first 2 sets of today, unfortunately, have been forfeited by Kingdom Esports. They were not available and able to field a full roster for themselves. So, unfortunately, they do default both those 2 sets against Most Wanted and Aware, awarding Most Wanted and Aware 3 points each for those. And as you can see, the standings have been updated now to show Aware still at number 1 and Most Wanted right on their heels at number 2.
Unfortunate situation for Kingdom now, still sitting at 0 points. So, they got to get their roster sorted out, but they're going to have their work cut out for them whenever they do get there.
They really, really are. However, don't worry, still got 4 more sets to bring you, so plenty of still Smite console league action for you. And we're going to start off with Aware versus Eager now in this set. And Aware and Eager, obviously Aware sat on 10 points after that Kingdom Esports forfeit as well. Very good position for them so far, the split.
Can't get any better than first place, right?
Eager, though.
It's been a great start off for Aware, but Eager almost in the middle of the pack right now in the standings, but I expect them to sort of rise through the ranks as this continues to go on. They're just too talented. They've got a veteran roster, just too much experience on there to be in the middle of the pack.
Is this because of that roster switch of jungle and hunter? Sorry, jungle and support, I should say.
Jungle and support, yeah. Switching Mifflin to the support role and Jelly to jungle definitely does come with some speed bumps, even if those players are supremely talented, which they are. It's gonna cause some, bumps in the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as we get further into the split, like I said, I definitely expect them to sort of rise up through it.
Well, let's see if he can actually make something happen here against Aware, who are looking very, very good for themselves in this first couple of weeks of SCL action so far. What's your expectations overall here, Aggro, in terms of SCL in top 3?
You mean at the end of the split?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Man.
Okay, so Aware, we haven't touched on it yet, but Aware losing Layers of Death in the jungle is a big, big blow to them. So I don't know if I'm willing to put them top 3 still, and it's not because, even though Layers did get those first 2 MVPs in the first 2 weeks.
That's true.
It's just like it's so difficult to make a mid-season change like that and keep your chemistry going. So I don't know. They're off to a great start right now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the veteran teams. Most Wanted, I expect to stay in the top 3. Eager, I think, will get there. And I mean, I would be surprised if SOAR wasn't in there as well.
Well, let's find out how this works out for Eager then. Currently sat on 3 points. They really need the 2-0 here to climb themselves up to 6 points, start closing the gap on the top leaders here. Picks and ban-wise, what do you expect to be banned here, Aggro?
I mean, Zeus right away, Baronic definitely
just
comfortable
to be clear,
on the
Zeus was already here before you said that, just to say that.
No, yeah, 100%.
Supposed to predict beforehand, Aggro.
I was about to be like, something like Terra or Fafnir or anything along those lines. But Zeus right away for Eager. This is like Baronic's go-to god. We saw him last week go towards Hebo or Habwa once the Zeus was starting to be banned away, and then went to the Nuwa, and the Nuwa didn't look quite as strong as these all-in sort of burst mages that he liked to play in the Zeus and Habwa. So Eager recognizing that right away and taking away Baronic's comfort pick.
Well, we're going to take out Nemesis as well, make sure that's not available for the jungle for Eager, and then Fafnir as well. Do you expect to see anything else coming out here?
Guan Yu is the first one that comes to mind. Eager, whenever Mifflin was in the jungle, definitely did like to run Ao Kuang as well. I'm not sure how comfortable Jelly is on that god, so I don't know if Aware knows either. Maybe they say, let's make Jelly prove that he can play it, or they respect ban it away, but that would give Eager the Guan Yu, a god that they're very well versed with.
That's going to be the Susano from Aware Gaming here. Back to Eager then with their first option. They have drafted Guan Yu in the past before early on. Will they do it here for the first pick?
I wouldn't be surprised. No, it's going to be the Terra instead.
Terrible Terra.
First week available here in the SCL for Terra, and Eager clearly seeing the power that she brings on the PC side, electing to go with that Terra first pick. And speaking of gods that Jelly is comfortable on, Susano is the god that I think of when I think of Jelly jungle. So Aware recognizing that, just as Eager did with Baronic Zeus, taking away Jelly Susano is a strong idea. And it looks like they're not going to go for the Guan Yu here. Eager probably expected to give up Guan Yu whenever they first picked the Terra. It's a trade that they were clearly okay with. But Aware going for Raven and Sol, two high-pressure gods, and then Sol also bringing that late-game pressure. You know, that it's always a ticking time bomb. If once Sol gets a bunch of items online, she's going to be really scary.
Not only that, she's got a bit of a flex pick to her as well. Cannon in the mid lane, Cannon in the duo lane as well. And now Guan Yu's been locked in by Ego. Where do have a chance, though, to look at potentially Odin here in the support role. Obviously, they've got Raven here. They could go for Odin in the jungle too, but it's a different sort of option.
Odin jungle or Odin support, probably a viable option here. Does pretty well against Terra. Terra not able to get out of that cage and shuts down her sustain and healing as well. But Aware electing to go for Neith. Again, this flex pick sort of option. We don't know if this is going to go to Cameron, who has played it a lot in the SEL thus far, but I also know that Cameron's very comfortable on the Soul. So we'll see something new for Boronic this week, one way or another.
Very true, and I think Aware are really giving up a lot of support options for themselves here, as Eager do have the potential to ban two of them away now that could potentially deal with Terra, although that lineup is very scary that Eager have drafted so far.
It's got some early, it's got some late, it's got an incredible amount of sustain. Aware's going to have to commit heavily to making sure that they can shut it down.
Well, Eager recognize Odin could be a real issue for them, so they will ban it away, make sure that's not available. Aware focusing on junglers and mid laners at the same time here, with Raijin and Thor taken out. It's back to Eager for their second ban.
No surprise to see the Delta Marines, Raijin getting banned out, very proficient on that god. So we'll see what he wants to go with. Electing to ban the Ratatosker, I'm kind of curious on that because you don't know, the jungler is going to be new for Aware, right? We don't know who's going to be in that role. We know Forger Vulcan subbing in for them, but we don't know if he's going jungle or if maybe he's going support like he did previously. Kenshin could possibly move over to the jungle role, and you don't know who's going to be there. So unless Eager has been scrimming Aware and sees, you know, maybe they have a limited god pool in the jungle now, why not ban out the support that you know is going to be comfortable on a certain set of gods anyways? Right. I don't know. It's like maybe it feels like a shot in the dark almost, right? It's like maybe whoever's jungling for them does like Ratatosker. Ratatosker ban, you know, may as well.
That's true. Athena has been picked up by Aware. Now, that is technically a flex pick still, because we've seen a little bit more jungle coming out from it as well. Not so sure about the console scene, though.
Okay, so Forger Vulcan played support, subbing in for Kenshin earlier. Okay. Kenshin, a support player, maybe moving into the jungle if it is one of those two players. Giving them a support god makes them more comfortable. I like the idea. I hadn't thought about it, and as soon as you said it, I was like, I don't know.
Could be
but I'm starting to get on board. See? You know, I like it.
See, I don't need to know the players to understand what they could be looking for.
No,
we'll see if it works out.
You're already there.
It might be wrong, though, because at the end of the day, Athena naturally in the support role here. Be interesting to see how she plays off against Terra, because Terra could really punish her if she dashes in to clear the wave and she can find the route off the monolith. Eager's lineup, though, looking pretty strong here, especially with that Vulcan coming out now for those knockups to allow Wheelix to potentially set up for some free pulls as well with the gravity surge there. But the biggest problem I see with that is there's no real tower push on the side of Eager here.
No, and that's something you see a lot whenever Freya's drafted early for a team, and there isn't a whole lot of tower push. However, if they really want to full commit to a tower siege, Awilish popping that ultimate gives her a ton of attack speed and power, can burn towers instantly almost. But we'll see if that's what they want to go with. Okay, so let's take a look. So it looks like Boronic's actually going to move to the jungle.
Interesting.
Forger Vulcan's going to play the middle lane, that's where I'm like familiar with Forger Vulcan.
You're comfortable in
He's a mid laner from what I knew about him. Whenever he came into the support role, he had a fantastic showing. I believe that was against Most Wanted, even securing and helping Aware get a 2-0 against, you know, the defending champions basically of the SCL Summer Finals. So Forger Vulcan moving over to the middle lane, Boronic in the jungle. This is going to be interesting to see how Aware plays this.
Well, how we'll start this off as well, we're going to only call him Forger from now on, because there's a Vulcan on the enemy team at the same time, and that's where it gets confusing. Shouts to console players that always call themselves stupid things that causes issues with god names as well.
ELSoaRchapo is a pretty good console name. Come on, that was funny, right? Like, I'm with ELSoaRchapo and ELSoaRchapo.
Yeah, it should have been ELSoaRchapo. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, and it was.
Allowed the L eventually. Did you get it eventually?
Yes.
Oh.
That's what? You casted an entire split with me as ELSoaRchapo.
I don't like talking about you, really.
That's not very nice at all.
I just like listening to your voice.
Interesting that both mid laners go for Vampiric Shroud here. Soulstone is really, especially on a god like Soul, when you're clearing the way with one ability, it's the natural choice, right? You're getting that extra power, you're getting some extra wave clear, but Forger Vulcan decided to go for the Vamp Shroud, maybe scared of the burst potential out of Jelly, wants that extra 100 health out of Vampiric Shroud, but you have so much sustain built into Soul's kit already. I don't know. I don't know if I like it.
Well, these right and halfies go the way of Aware Gaming there, but the Fire Elementals will go to Eager here. Back to lane they go. And meanwhile, on the left-hand side, the usual poke coming through. Now, Terra will be able to help out Freya a little bit in the early game with that wave clear, but Neith and Athena definitely have control. As I say that, though, they're going to get punished pretty heavily there. On top of that, as Neith took a lot of free poke.
depth. But she has got a lot of She's got a lot of potions, though. She doesn't have to be too worried. Going for that Transcendent start is going to make a lot of potions, but Cougar in a lot of trouble.
And only level 2 as well. Really going to have to back away, forcing the Meditate out from them as well. Meanwhile, left-hand Harpy's being contested here, and at the moment, Eager have rough control of him. That turret is not going to get aggro, though. It's just out of range, and I think the backfire secured them there for Team Eager.
That you want to put that turret out of range because you don't. If you want to make the decision, okay, we're letting these go and we're fighting, you don't want your turret to keep going on those mid harpies. Another double taunt, but Mifflin an excellent job stunning out Cameron so that he couldn't use the root to follow up.
So much poke coming out from both these two teams already in the mid lane and in the left-hand side of things as well. And going back to that Vampiric Shroud you mentioned as well, I can understand actually, you know, seeing Delta Marine picking it up just because of the fact that he's against the Sol. He's going to take some poke from those Stellar Bursts a little bit more. The extra health will help him out a little bit more.
No doubt. Along with that, oh, hold on, I thought a nice double root. Mifflin electing to go a little bit aggressive, but he does have that double dash available once he breaks that monolith, able to get out of dodge fairly easily, as well as securing some damage, wave clear, and a double root on that duo lane.
Pinning back the Aware Gaming team in the duo lane is very hard to do overall, but just shows some of the strength Terra really brings to the lineup here. Level 5 has been reached for one player so far, and that is Delta Marine in the mid lane on that Vulcan. Soon enough, Weedix will be joining him.
And that's because they pick up those fire elementals immediately following the right-hand mid harpies. This gives you a little bit of a power spike. Now Sol hitting level 5 as soon as she gets to that wave, and that's what you want to do. When you're behind and the other team's going to hit 5 first, you want to be first to the wave so that you can be sure to secure it before they can kind of dive on top of you. However, you have to be careful that they aren't waiting for you knowing that you're going to do that because they have those ultimates available. But Aware, just securing that 5 is going to be important because Eager's 5 is very, very strong. The Awilish pull off the knockups. Neath has to be extra careful now because that Gravity Surge is going to spell a lot of trouble for her potentially in the duo lane. And of course, the Vulcan ultimate. I mean, we've seen it a lot recently with the Vulcan kind of resurging back into the meta, doing a ton of work with that ultimate.
And you mentioned being careful. Well, Jelly's going to have to do that on the Awilix as well. Obviously, he started Wrath this game for extra clear in the jungle. And because of that, though, we could see Baronic on this Ao Kuang look to try and pick him off with the ultimate. No escape available.
Not only that ultimate, but we should see Cameron ulting him often and Kenshin going aggressive.
Well,
and here we see the aggression already.
But immediate response coming out from Terra's Blessing there in the duo lane from Mifflin there just to deny the opportunity. And it's Athena getting pressured here quite heavily with the Guan Yu ult coming through too. Ooh. He will dash away, but not going to give chase his worst now. Instead, they'll pick up Baronic, who was trying to support.
Baronic going to fall now. Vulcan in a ton of trouble. Not going to be able to get out of this one, I think. Even with the Disapparate, should fall here to the side of Eager. A little bit of miscommunication almost spelled disaster for Eager. Jelly pulling Kenshin out of the backfire kind of turned that team fight a little bit awkward off the bat. But even despite that, Eager picking up 2 kills. Just a lot of hesitation from Aware there. That's not what we've seen from them thus far in the SCL. And maybe losing your jungler does that, but just a slow response, not sure who they're going on, kind of awkward.
And Eager really looking to abuse that situation there. They steal away the speed buff, now they steal away the blue. Pressure one more time on to the Raven in the solo lane here. You're going to see them look to rush away now as the rotation is back. 3-man taunt, however. Good burst from Baronic, but a good stun coming out from Terra as well, just to deny that option. Mifflin getting away. Jelly still being pressured, but that speed buff will keep him out of range.
Baronic really wanted that execute, recognizing the lack of purification on Jelly, but just able to stay above that 30% magic number against Ao Kuang.
Yeah, very important to do that overall. Left-hand Harpy's going to go the way of Eager here. So a nice little gold on experience lead already developing here, up to about 1,500 in terms of gold, and 2,000 experience is quite good for under 5 minutes.
Not only do you get the double kill, but you take both right side buffs away from the opposition, you're going to see a big graph like that. It's starting to go the way
to go up, yeah.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario. Forger going to get aggressed on in the middle lane, but nothing really to do about that. Aware has to be more careful. If they're going to go for that invade, they have to recognize that if that goes poorly, it's going to go really, really poorly. When you lose 2, force Kenshin to back, no ultimate available for him after that, you know, it's going to be, you're going to lose both those right side buffs. It's a high risk, high reward situation, and it didn't pay off there for Aware.
You mentioned high risk, high reward. There's a little look towards the Gold Fury there from Aware for a moment, but the pressure in mid lane is going to deny that option from them for the time being, as continuing on is Eager. And I'm going to actually talk through Eager as well. One thing you will notice is that you don't see any reinforced greaves just yet, or reinforced boots coming out. That's because we're on the console patch before the PC patch. So for the time being, these poor console players haven't had to deal with the audacity and craziness that those boots bring.
No 4-man tank boots for like Obey pulled out this week, or no.
So it's traveler shoes for support so far. So they're a little bit squishier still in terms of the meta overall. Like those boots really helped him out in the early game, but did cost him a little bit of gold.
You can see it right now. Kenshin up 200 gold on Forager Vulcan. I still think Baronic's in the middle lane.
Yeah,
just
that's
like
habit.
off the habit. And it definitely boosts their gold gain. And that's something that I think we'll see. Oh, hold that thought. Cameron looks like he wants to ultimate here. Aware looking to try and bait that top left ward, but it looks like Eager just wants to look on the Gold Fury.
Well, over in the solo lane, Dwirst poking out heavily there onto Dr. L. He's going to be forced back to base as well. No teleport available for him. So a bit of free farm coming forward for Dwirst there, who could look to make a rotation based off this as well and try and punish him heavy, or just look for the tier 1 tower.
Not a good sign for Aware that your Robin is losing lane to a Guan Yu. I mean, when you pick Robin into Guan Yu, you want him to bully him early and often and make sure he doesn't get to that mid to late game where those conviction heals start to make a huge difference.
Mifflin going to walk straight into an Athena, and I don't think Athena even knew that was there until Mifflin gets torn in place. The root does not connect, however, so he will dash away. Will Weaver to slow him down. The ultimate coming through, and the execution is confirmed. Baronic credited for the kill. Terra's Blessing does not save the day.
Cameron a little bit off the mark there with the root. Forces the World Weaver and the execute from Ao Kuang. I mean, it's a win overall. You definitely want to secure that kill when he's that out of position, but he probably did need to use both those ultimates. And Jelly, recognizing how big that commit was on the left-hand side, takes the speed buff yet again. Baronic, even despite getting that kill, still 500 gold down and going to be in some trouble.
Eager looks a little bit more comfortable in this role switch now, the jungler and the support as well. The first couple of games we've seen out of them, they seem to struggle here and there, but Jelly really starting to exploit that now, starting to find his home in the jungle.
This is another god that Jelly is definitely comfortable on, is this Awilish. He played it last week, and that's why I was surprised that Aware elected to ban out Thor whenever Awilish was still available, especially when you're picking Neith. When you pick Neith, that's like the god that, you know, there are gods that have counter picks, and you want to be aware of those.
As well, that's true. So I'm going to connect onto Air Cougar, forced to purify. Dwirst around the corner here. Going to make Air Cougar also use his ultimate defensively. Teleport now coming through as well from Dwirst to rotate in, as all members of Eager here with Terra's Blessing popped as well. They could be looking for more, but immediately Aware Gaming fall back wisely.
I'm surprised that Dwirst decided to teleport there. Probably the call that there was going to be a full-on fight, but look at how much tower that solo lane, so much poke that solo lane tower has taken already.
That's true.
He probably could have gotten that for free with Dr. L using that teleport to try and gank Cougar.
Well, Eager trying to make the most of this teleporting now, going for the Gold Fury here with the Vulcan turret, whacking away in it too. Most of them on zone duty at the moment. They will reset the Gold Fury as a taunt does go off, but it's not really going to connect. Dwirst pressuring now onto the Athena, and Jelly gets credit for the kill. Vulcan off the mob, but the Guan Yu hits 3 at the back, slowing them down, and a good banish from Air Cougar to follow up, but gets return damage coming out there as well from Cameron.
Aware is so low right now, and some members of Eager are as well, but look at the amount of sustain. They've got the Terra, they've got the Guan Yu. They're totally fine with trading out these heavy poke engagements, even at this early stage.
Mifflin on zone duty, but Robin's having none of it. Goes straight in, but Robin is very low. Overhead kick, however, secures one, and it allows Forger Vulcan to come in and clean up another one as well. Marine answers back to Dr. L. Baronic is really in a rough position, but luckily enough, he's got teammates in support. Mifflin says no, though. The walls come crushing down. Ooh. Backfire does not connect, however, so another kill is dropped there from Eager. Aware Gaming win that one 2-1, but they still have Gold Fury control.
And that's because of this sustain. Delta Marine still full health. Cougar is still 2/3 health. Forger Vulcan does not want to give it up, but he has no ultimate available. Probably not enough burst damage, but enough burst damage at least to get Eager off the Gold Fury. Mifflin gonna just try and zone everyone out, but the Vulcan turret still plugging away at that Gold Fury.
It's like a free ward. That's how I kind of look at that as well. Free ward, but it also covers the whole option of the area around that Gold Fury pit as well if things do go off. And obviously Backfire will prioritize the target the turret focuses on as well. So if he connects a Backfire and in that zone, it will start focusing that character.
Definitely great turret placement there by Delta Marine, but overall that fight a little bit sloppy for him specifically. The Vulcan ultimate completely off the mark, just missing 2, and then the Backfire off the setup from Mifflin just didn't find it. I mean, he's level 12 though, 3-0 already, highest gold in the game, which is scary whenever you're a late game mage like a Vulcan. He has that second act relic as soon as he backs. Aware have to do a good job of focusing him down if they want to win these fights.
Well, Aware going to try and focus the Gold Fury down very quickly. They've got a lot of burst damage with a Soul and a Neith as well to secure this one. And the rotation from Eager doesn't look like it's going to be here at all. Aware Gaming get a Gold Fury for free and even up the gold a lot more.
Great call there by Aware, and that's recognizing that Jelly's going to want to look for his speed buff. You see Delta Marine head over to help with him, help it as well, and that's a bad sign whenever both your jungle and your mid are on that right side and that Gold Fury's up, especially right after Aware had counter-warded it. It was bad news for Eager.
Yeah, it's always the thing you want to do though when you're in the mid lane is try and get as much farm as possible from the jungler at the same time, but by doing that, you expose weaknesses in your own game plan and potentially give up position on the map, and that's exactly how the Gold Fury went the way of Aware Gaming. gaming there.
And that's one of the advantages you should have whenever you are so farmed, when you are level 13 already, is that you can afford to not share that speed buff. You could afford to let your jungler take that full experience in gold and still cover the option of the Gold Fury. But Delta Marine maybe getting a little bit greedy with his farm, though. Well, I mean, look, mid laners get stripped of so much farm, man. The support's always there, the jungle's always there. I don't want a three-way split every wave.
To be fair, I mean, he's 11 minutes in now on this Vulcan. He's level 13. He's got 2 relics online, 301, and he's completed a full Warlock Slash now and stacking it up already. A lot of pokes there onto Kenshin in the mid lane, as you saw. You can see the amount of damage that's going to be able to come out. Plus, he's a little bit tankier now, which makes it harder to bring him down.
And a little bit of miscommunication there. Again, Jelly pulling him in when Delta Marine wasn't ready to full commit with that ultimate. You're going to have to blow both there if you're going to kill Kenshin. And with the Gold Fury not up, it might not be worth it, but it's definitely not worth it to only use one of those ultimates, right? Especially whenever Kenshin has his ultimate available, the poke really insignificant.
Well, here we go. They're going to try and force this tier 1 tower down, but as we said, Eager do not have great clear in terms of objectives here on the map. Taunt goes off from Kenshin, not going to connect, but the knockup does, and in goes Jelly, but he's going to get hit by a World Weaver as well, and the burst is gone from Baronic. Not enough for a kill, however, and Jelly will escape, and Cougar picks up Baronic for his indiscretions.
Just off the mark with the execute, so close there for Baronic. Cameron going to come in and take a lot of poke right away, able to heal up pretty safely with Neath. And this is the thing, even though Eager doesn't have great tower damage, they do have decent tower siege because of the sustain.
That's true.
Guan Yu just now arriving and topping off almost everyone except for Jelly.
And however, on the right-hand side, you do see the Dr. L side lane for a little bit, tried to rotate, came back with cavalry charging mid lane, secures one already, and still going in there is Dwurst. We're going to force them back a little bit more, allowing the tier 1 tower to be sieged even harder. And unfortunately, Dr. L will not be here in time to stop the tower going down, I don't think, but they may be able to find a kill, and they will onto Jelly. The tower still stands, however. Cougar trying to commit for the last couple of hits, and it's not going to allow it. Delta Marine trying to support with Mifflin there to slow them down on the advance. Aware Gaming hold the tower and answer back one of those kills.
And as soon as we looked at this draft, you said it right away, no tower push, and we see it there, the tower living with 1 HP, Jelly getting rooted underneath the tower, spelling a lot of trouble for him. And Jelly was playing that fight really greedy because he was level 12 but hadn't backed yet for his second relic and that purification. He jumped under the tier 1 tower initially, got Neath ulted, was able to barely escape the execute from Ao Kuang, and then still committing to the tower despite not getting topped off from the heals. So a little bit greedy there from Jelly, but now that he has that purification online, should be in a better spot to make those aggressive plays.
I guess it's risk versus reward as well when you look at that. If you do manage to make that play that comes out on top, it's like bonus. If you don't, well, things can go a little bit worse for you. In the end, that tower is on its last legs, though. So overall tower advantage is definitely still in Eager's favor here, especially with that tier 1 tower that's been chipped away a little bit more over in the solo lane. However, with Dwurst rotating to that mid lane fight so much, there was a nice answer back from Dr. L there to some of the tower damage on the right-hand side.
Not only the tower damage, but look at how much he caught up in farm. Now a level up, about 400 gold up himself. That Gold Fury definitely helping with that as well. But getting that much-needed solo farm, now level 14, almost caught up to Delta Marine, and you're going to need Rava to stick on Delta Marine because Vulcan, no real way, outside of the meatball, which you can immune with the overhead kick, no real way to peel for himself. So it's going to be Dr. L's job to make sure that Delta Marine is nowhere near these fights.
Dr. L as well, that level lead is the more important thing in that solo lane as well there. Considering we saw earlier on, Dwurst was pushing him back, and he actually lost a wave or 2 to the tower. Surprised that we see Dwurst fall behind an experience.
It was the TP that was a little bit awry. I mean, then there was that long dance around that Gold Fury. And then finally, Aware end up getting it, which helps boost Dr. L in experience and gold. And like you said, Dwurst making that rotation early could work out, but it ended up not working out, and then that meant bad news for him.
Did not like that jungler. Now he's been pressured, and he will be fall down there too. Baronic, who goes to the sky. Now Air Cougar's going to watch himself here. They actually going to look for Mifflin now, who gets slowed a little bit. You can see Vulcan trying to close the screen here a little bit more as Air Cougar takes to the sky to reduce some pressure, but that's still a burst. Ooh, didn't find its mark. The tower, though, is under siege.
Nice 3-man stun, and here's Delta Marine from the back. Huge damage with the backfire, and he looks like he wants to commit.
He's going to get a lot of damage off as well. Look for the backfire and hit 2. Cavalry charge from Dwurst, going to run them down like dogs. Gets one on Kenshin as the other one clean up 2. Cameron falls as well. And Aware Gaming did not recognize the rotation coming in from Eager.
That was all Delta Marine right there, taking full advantage of that level and item lead. Now top of the damage charts. A huge ultimate that time. Hit 3, forced a 4th Sanctuary, and then was able to secure the double kill for Dwurst on that time a good teleport.
Well, it's not just that, it's going to be the Gold Fury as well off that, because it had just respawned. Barank's coming in as well as Dr. L thinking about it as well, but I don't think they can really contest. Although we saw Aware going before on this one and look for a steal away and try and deny them. This time round, though, Gold Fury goes the way of Eager.
And that's the Wrath available on Jelly. We hadn't really touched on that except for early, the fact that he didn't have the Purification. Yep. That time had the Wrath up for the Gold Fury, and Aware wisely saying, okay, it's yours.
Well, they're just going to get a little bit more here as well as the tier 1 tower. Well, it was already dead anyway. Just walk in with Dwurst and steal that one, and immediately the team rotating all the way to the right, because I think they may want to go for that solo lane tower as well.
It's already so low, and this is when this comp for Eager starts to really come online. Delta Marine starting to really chunk with his abilities, and that sustain starting to be really impactful for Eager. The Conviction's going to be leveled up right around now, and Mifflin's Obelisk also providing a ton of healing.
Jelly round to the right-hand side here. Gonna meet Dr. L here. Got Dwurst in support, and the main issue here is not necessarily a kill, but forcing him back and allowing these minions to get towards the tower to look for the kill. So keeping him busy. However, I say that as there's a rotation now coming in from Kenshin on the Athena.
Jelly, still no Purification available, so I like their recognition trying to go for him right away. But look at this level lead for Delta Marine. 5 levels in the middle lane over Forge of Vulcan.
And now there's pressure in the jungle here as well. The ultimate did not work from the Gravity Surge from Jelly. And now the Tower's Blessing's been popped as well. They're still looking for this, but there's many members of Aware gaming over here as well. The ult is blocked by Jelly, sorry, by Mifflin there in the jungle. I don't think it was really aimed at him, that Will Weaver. But the fight continues for a second as now Aware gaming realize they got to fall back.
And they have to fall back because Delta Marine is almost here, looking in the jungle for Dr. L. Misses the meatball, but you can see how much that backfire alone is chunking him, and he doesn't even have penetration online yet.
And Dr. L forced to ult away there, and now this tower can really be looked at with 4 members strong on this right-hand side here as well. They're going to bring the minions in for the extra safety factor and remove those backdoor protections, and with that monolith down too, they will take this tier 1 tower as Delta Marine goes to zone duty.
When you're level 7, you want your level 17 character zoning, right? It's just usually not your mid laner. I mean, usually that's your solo laner, but he's only level 15, and Delta Marine just so big right now and has so much health because of that Warlock Sash. Already 78 stacks.
Well, Aware gaming in their own jungle here, looking to defend a little bit, but look at Team Eager, happy to take this fight at the moment. Mifflin forced out a little bit. Good meatball there from Delta Marine as well, putting a lot of pressure onto Dr. L, who's forced to meditate his way. Supernova is used as well to try and slow down. Baronic blinks to the backside, looking for Jelly in the pickup, but the Feather Step was so good to deny the extra damage and forces him back out. Meanwhile, around the back air, Cougar is here on the Freya, looking for the pulse damage as Dwurst runs through the cavalry charge and picks up one. Cougar is going in for extra damage as well as the Vulcan ult connects, allowing Dwurst to pick up another. Delta Marine's backfire secures one more.
Baronic is going to be able to eat up Jelly, who did have the Purification available, so a little curious on how that happened. But Delta Marine's positioning in these fights is just coming around the back, almost Transonics-like, playing like an assassin almost, coming in as his damage dealer, and Aware is not turning to fight him. But the problem is, you can't. He's level 19. Your mid laner is only level 13. You just don't have enough damage to take down that raw HP that he's building.
Aware seem to be a little bit more worried about Jelly than anything else here. They're not looking towards Delta Marine, and they weren't looking towards Cougar in that fight either, which kind of allowed those two mages to just free damage off consistently.
I'm kind of surprised because we've seen a nice adjustment, the ability for Aware to make these adjustments. They're going for Jelly so much because at the beginning of the game, he didn't have the Purification. So they're in comms, they're like, okay, here's the game plan. We kill Jelly, he doesn't have Purification. But now, he does have Purification, so why is he still the target? He's a very mobile character on a Willish. You don't want to be focusing him. You want to be focusing the one who's doing the most damage. I mean, look at the player damage chart. Jelly's 4th on his team. He shouldn't be the focus in these fights. It should definitely be Delta Marine or Guan Yu if you have the burst damage. You want to take out the sustain or the damage, and Jelly's really neither of those. So we need to see Aware make that transition. Say, okay, Jelly was the target, now he's not. You see it all the time. Supports are usually the target early because they aren't tanky, right? And then as soon as they get to be tanky, you say, we're done looking
we switch
at that.
off.
Right, you find a new target. It's time for Aware to find a new target.
Well, what will the target be? I like what Baronic's done though. He's not got high in the player damage, but for his first time in the jungle for this team, not done too much of a bad job. He took the tier 1 tower in the mid lane, realizing he couldn't fight them as they pushed down the right hand side and took a tier 2 tower. So tries to find farm where he can and has the most kills in his team so far.
That's what you want to see whenever you're switching lanes, is that you aren't losing your game sense. You know what I mean? You're not so focused on making sure that you're hitting your abilities and being in the right spot that you forget that you're just playing Smite, and you should do good Smite things like taking a tier 1 tower while the other team is taking a tier 2 tower on the other side. But we have seen some missed abilities from him, some off-the-mark blinks, and maybe just some, I don't know, you never know though, because Ao Kuang is such a team-heavy god, even though he doesn't feel like it. He has that 100-0 capability, so you think, yeah, you can just kind of carry the team, but you need to be communicating.
Oh, he finds the knocker, but he's not going to find the gravity surge over the wall. Jelly, though, wants to continue going in. Looking towards Dr. L here as the taunt comes out from Kenshin to slow him down, but the worst is not done. Look at that sprint and the extra speed he's got on that horse now with the Terror's Blessing. Unfortunately, though, can't control it well enough, so he's forced out of it to be able to support his team.
That was a Kentucky Derby winner right there. Cougar in the middle lane, gonna force out the Soul Ultimate from Forger Vulcan, and look at the chunk there from Delta Marine. Has that Rod of Tahuti online already.
I don't think Forger's happy about his position now because sadly Eager flanked around the back of him. He's being chased through the jungle here by Jelly as the rest of Eager take the tier 2 tower. Vulcan forced to use the Sanctuary, but it won't be good enough. Jelly actually uses the Raft there just to make sure he can get the kill.
At least Cameron does get the tier 2 tower in left, getting some extra gold for his team. Some much needed gold, by the way. Just almost, yeah, 6K down basically, and now the Fire Giant's gonna be looked at for Eager, but they don't have the Wrath available. Jelly did not need that Wrath there.
No.
He had the speed buff.
Well, he's just got extra range and a Weelix too,
extra
right?
Range, right. Definitely did not need that Wrath.
Wow, that was fast.
Really fast.
Really, really quickly. But that's funny. They can do objectives pretty quick, but they can't do towers.
That's exactly what I was about to say. They may not have tower push, but they definitely have good objective burn. Freya excellent at burning down towers, as well as Vulcan laying down the turret provides some extra DPS.
Well, aggression one more time in the jungle here, looking for extra picks here with the cavalry charge from Dwurst one more time. Will force a wear back, and with that Fire Giant though, we talked about objective being a little bit weaker. Well, it does give you a buff to your damage to objectives with this Fire Giant, so they should be okay here.
And that's what you're hoping for when you have a Freya and no other, you know, physical ADC. Yeah. You want to be looking for the Fire Giant.
Taunt from 2, but the knockup from Vulcan slows down Dr. L. However, a lot of poke pressure on Mifflin, who's in trouble. Ooh. Vulcan to the backside does not really connect there, as Jelly was going in for a while, but now Terra's Blessing's been popped again, so if they do take any pokes, they will heal a little bit more as the Gravity Surge connects. Marine cleans up Cameron, 1 AD carry down, and they're looking for more, but a 3-man taunt is great. Meatball to deny it. Supernova over the top to break it up a little bit more. Phoenix is still whacking away, but the members of Aware Gaming are getting lower and lower. The sustain from Guan Yu and the Terror is just too much for Aware Gaming to handle.
Just not enough damage coming out of that level 15 Soul. A great triple taunt from Kenshin, but not enough damage coming out of the Supernova. He hit all the shots, he just doesn't have any items. He's got no penetration online. The Divine Ruin, a low damage item as well. Just not any follow-up for that good taunt.
The sustain is just too much. Eager have crafted a lovely comp together that Aware Gaming don't really have an answer to here whatsoever. 19-7, less than 24 minutes in the game, and Eager take game 1 pretty comfortably.
We were wondering how Aware was going to do with a new jungler and now a new middle laner, you know, switching out some roles. They had some flashes of old Aware, you know, looking okay. That nice Gold Fury call, getting a free gold there, but overall just Eager just kind of did Eager things, you know. They just team fought better than you, they controlled objectives better than you, they were on timers better than you. And it ends up with the win for them. I
mean, with Baronic going to the jungle here, I think that's necessarily a pretty good change for Aware, just because he knows the chemistry of the rest of the team already and how their playstyle is, and then bringing Forger Vulcan into the mid lane, he's just got to correct, you know, just understand what he's going to do in his role that of being mid, whereas Baronic runs the team then to an extent in the jungle. I think that's a wise idea. It's just going to take time to, you know, bring them all together.
It's definitely a different style of communication as well. Coming from the middle lane, you're really only talking about your ultimate status, who you can kill, and where people are on the map. As a jungler, you've got a lot more burden on you as far as communication, usually, in the traditional sense. Now, I know Kenshin's a big talker, doing a lot of talking from that support role, a lot of shot calling, so maybe that eases the burden on Baronic, but it's still a different style. I mean, communication is so big in Smite, especially at the highest level, and to make a change and then expect success right away usually doesn't work out.
Well, let's see if